Hey guys, you're watching Daniel and Gian talk, and today we're going to be doing a full review of the feature film Raazi, starring Alia Bhatt. Alright, so we're going to start with fan questions, and if you guys want to take part in this for our next review, send it to the email down below. But what do we got from our good friend Rickon in Kansas City? My question for Raazi is, what did you think of the underlying message of Raazi? I thought there was almost a sense of extreme blind patriotism, which I don't like in war movies. Bollywood has been known to do these sorts of movies and has always been to scapegoat Pakistan and everything. Do you think this is necessary in war movies, especially the current situation we have with Pakistan?
Well, let's go one at a time. What do you think the underlying message of Raazi is?
I honestly, I think it's kind of an anti-war movie altogether. Like nobody wins in war, and that was kind of what we get at the end.
Well, my argument to that is there is no war.
Well, okay, fair enough.
This is all lead up to the war.
Right.
So you don't see any war at all. And I think the underlying message is literally pretty straightforward. It tells you right at the end. Like, this film is dedicated to all those who helped India through all their troubles, but they've gone unnoticed and unnamed or whatever.
Right.
Whatever
because
the last.
They're spies, and spies aren't supposed to get.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you were to ask me what it's about that. It's about an unknown soldier.
I mean, if that was what the point of the movies was, it wasn't executed properly. But
why do you say that?
I didn't pick up on that at all. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, we'll get into it, but there's some of that stuff that I don't really.
Do you agree that there was a extreme blind patriotism in the movie?
I mean, considering that this guy sends his only daughter, a guy who's dying, sends his only daughter to take over for him as a spy, marries her off to.
Well, it's based on a true story. It's based on a book, actually. So it's not.
I mean, my point is, if you're willing,
it's not far-fetched.
If you're willing to send your daughter into enemy grounds, marry your daughter into the enemy family just so she can collect data for the country, Is there anything more blindly patriotic than that?
I think what he's getting at here is that the film is propaganda. Not the real life events are extreme life blind patriotism, right, but that the film is being a propaganda movie by promoting this extreme blind patriotism for your country. That's the way I interpret it. So do you think that's the case in this film?
No, because it only gets brought up twice. It gets brought up at the beginning of the film when her father asks her if she wants to do this, and then she's like, well, I know what Grandpa and you did, and who am I to deny that? And then she brings at the end when she has a confrontation with Vicky Kaushal. So I feel like it's not.
I would also so. I look at it from two ways. One is I'm with you 100%. I don't disagree with anything. However, what it made me think is showing this story, because I believe that the characters were willing to do this in real life, like the real life counterparts. Right. I don't know what the book is, but I'm assuming that's. I kind of believe that there's people who are that willing to serve their country, that they are willing to throw their daughter out there, and that their daughter is probably just as willing to do that because, it's a different time. I don't care what anyone says. The 70s is not the 2018, 2019. I'm not saying it wouldn't not happen today, but it's just like Americans during World War II. People were just signing up for the draft because you got to go kill the Nazis.
Now you got to bribe people with all kinds of
now
money
it's not.
Stuff
Now it's not exactly the same. And
we're gonna pay all your college up through grad school, and
exactly.
We'll pay your rent and stuff if you give us at least 4 years.
I know America's not India, but I'm just saying sentiments change. They evolve over time. However, I did think, when I was watching it, I'm like, man, if I was a little kid watching this movie, I might think that you should be willing to do whatever it takes to serve your country. Right. So, in some weird way, it might be backdoor propaganda, an inadvertent, by telling this story, by releasing it today, and if you're a child watching it, I can totally see how.
There was little elements, too, where she came across a sticker a few times that said, "Crush India."
Yeah.
There was stuff like that.
But I don't think it necessarily.
You can see it upset her when she saw it.
I think, as a matter of fact, I think the Indian servants or whatever they were, I don't know what they were, their official titles, but the guy that gets run over and killed.
Right.
I feel like he was the most antagonistic of the whole movie.
Yeah.
More so than the Pakistani people. Like, I didn't feel like at any point the Pakistani people in the film did anything despicable or like ruthless or like.
Not at all.
In my opinion, yeah, they're the enemy in the film, but like they were.
Well, should we just get into it then?
And then let's just do the second question, then we'll get into our discussion.
Do you think Alia Bhatt should have died at the end? Yes. Absolutely. I feel like I feel like they try to grab some like sentimentality instead of like leaving it the way it was, like, oh, she's pregnant with this guy who she fell in love with, her husband.
I actually, the way I took it is...
But then she looked like she was in like a loony bin at the end too.
No, I think she was just in a home by herself. Like, just, that's where she was. I don't know if it was a safe house, but I don't think it was a loony bin. That's the way I interpret it.
Well, I just
and it was her son on that aircraft carrier.
Humble abodes.
I don't know. I didn't get that either, because I'm like, who is this? And then I looked it up on Wikipedia, like the one that they keep focusing on, like that's her son growing up later.
Oh.
Yeah, I missed that entirely.
I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't get it. I'm not gonna pretend to. But the reason why I didn't like her not dying at the end of the movie was I felt like it was a way to make India not look ruthless.
Okay.
Like, even though he was willing to do it. Yeah, he was willing to do it, but he didn't kill her, so it's okay.
Well, like I said, and it tried to end the movie like on a sweeter tone.
And
whereas
I think
if it would have ended it like that,
it's a casualty of war.
Yeah,
and it would have
exactly
because it would have fell in line with that main dude
right.
who I liked. I liked his performance.
And then if they'd have asked him like what, he would have been like the same thing he told her. He could have told somebody else.
Yeah.
And it would have been just as impactful. Like,
but no, who would have been alive to? The mom? He would have told...
not just the mom. Anyone.
And the mom would have known...
Or the
guys saying who knew about her existence.
The guys that were with her that went to go and pick her up. Like, but somebody could have been like questioning her, like, did we have to do that? And he's like, this is how it happens,
They didn't
man.
question because I think they all knew. But yeah, so...
It's a movie.
Absolutely.
They could have set it up in a way where someone could have asked.
And then arguably they could say, well, she didn't die in the book, so...
Okay, there's also that,
But let's get into the other part.
But it's like also, but... you having her not die and then her confronting him, it made it seem like she did all this for nothing. Because she didn't seem like she was happy that she did it. She wasn't proud of what she did. It changed.
Bro, I agree 100%. Yeah, when the movie ended, I was like, what the fuck was the point of all of this?
Right.
It looked like it was for nothing. And then through, they cut to like stock footage or like the real footage to explain the war. And basically... it leads you to believe that because of her intelligence, they were able to sink the submarine that potentially would have caused more damage. And then that was what all her work was for.
Right.
My issue with that is you never once see the character like live with that, see how she reacts to that. No one took her like intel seriously. Like the higher ups, they kind of brushed it off. They needed confirmation, which in my mind, it's like, why the fuck would you even have her in there if you're not going to believe her?
Well, there was a level of arrogance there between the military branches. That's what it seemed like.
I guess what I'm saying is she didn't win.
No, she didn't.
And not in the sense of like, well, her husband died
and that's
But I mean, like, she didn't do anything.
But that's where I go back to like the initial question.
History took over the film instead of the film getting the ending.
And that's kind of that's why I went where I did with Rickon's original question. Like, I didn't feel like it was like this blind patriotism film because of that, because nobody wins in the movie.
There was no bomb saving the day moment.
Exactly. Like there was nothing. There was nothing where you could like really like root for, like, yeah, this is happening. And let's just get into the movie. I think that was a big part of the film. Like, if this was supposed to be an anti-Pakistan film, it did a terrible job of that. I don't think
it was.
Because, well, what I'm saying is the least sympathetic characters in this film were the Indians,
Yeah, because they were the ruthless,
even
the
servant guy, he was just doing his job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was the antagonist.
And I thought it was badass. I'm like, I thought it was badass that she fucking ran him over with
twice.
The truck. Yeah, like that she like.
And then he lived.
That she took, that she took it to that level. And I mean, it would have been awesome if she went to the hospital and killed him at the hospital. But yeah, she killed her brother-in-law with the Breaking Bad
the
poison.
I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
However, though, there was no ticking clock. There was no real stakes. There really was no overarching goal. So in a weird way, the only suspense you were getting from the movie was her getting caught or not.
Right.
There was no other like, we got to figure this out before this time because of like Like they kind of set little things up.
But you didn't.
It was more about her being in that house than anything else.
Right, but that didn't get you like a little worked up because it did.
No, it did.
When I was watching,
No.
like her like getting like almost getting caught.
It did, but the reason why I bring that up is, and it's not a bad thing. I enjoyed the movie. I'm just saying, once those scenes were done, there was no overarching tension that was like adding to. It was like, okay, it was deflated. Oh, she's safe. Oh, she didn't get caught.
Right.
Okay, good. And then it just became about her. I feel like the story just became about her. Is she gonna get caught or not?
Yeah.
As opposed to, I gotta follow and find intel from this specific guy.
Right. Like there was no like legit mission.
Spy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And now she's not a traditional spy. She's not James Bond.
Well, or this is how spies actually work in the real world, and we're so used to like
James
Hollywood
Bond,
spies.
and I can accept that.
Where they're trying to like you know.
And my thing's not a negative. I'm just pointing it out because we have to deconstruct the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like
absolutely.
That's the whole point of our reviews is to deconstruct.
And there was that stuff didn't bother me. I like that. I like the movie like itself. You know, there's things that I definitely need to talk about.
We'll get them out now. Let's do it.
Like, it still found a way to incorporate songs into the movie. You know, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't like Salman Khan, which we get to mention every single like video we do.
I thought it was fine because it was motivated by the story.
They were definitely motivated, but
she had to like get them singing.
Well, that wasn't the only song though. There was multiple songs. That was the only one where she sang.
Well, that's the one that sticks out. Which the one you're talking about?
Dude, there's like 4 or 5 different songs in the film.
Shit, I don't
like
remember.
montage sequences.
Oh, I don't count those as songs. That's like looking at a Martin Scorsese movie and be like, God damn, Scorsese, you had so many songs. Tarantino, you had so many songs.
Yeah, but these are different songs. Those songs have a different effect than these songs. Like these are the same, still kind of commercial pop songs.
I think the difference is, and this is the truth. And I think this is also for people out there who watch, who always ask, like, why are you guys so critical? We have to read everything. So if we hear a song, like in a Scorsese, and we hear the lyrics, it might go in one ear, one right out the other, and we just care about the visuals. But when the subtitles are on the screen, I don't know about you, but you pay attention to everything.
No, absolutely.
So then all of a sudden, you're literally picking apart, like, okay, the director chose this song for this particular moment. Is it too much? Is it too, like, you're literally overanalyzing because you're forced to read it.
That's fair. I think that makes some sense.
Because I know it was like when she first got married, right? And everyone was saying bye. I think there was like music to that, and there's like during the. But I just really think if we were watching this and we knew the language.
Well, and like I said, it wasn't like I didn't think they were terrible and they didn't bother me. I just still noticed.
I don't think it was necessary though.
No, it wasn't necessary.
Because visually you could get by with it.
And I felt like even though this was supposed to be like a pretty heavy subject matter, they still found ways. They found ways to incorporate the songs. They found ways to incorporate a romance in the you know.
Did you think so?
Absolutely. It wasn't like heavy.
It was light. Because that's my biggest gripe is he wasn't developed.
He's fucking crying his ass off in the bathroom because he fucking knows that she planted the evidence in the thing.
Oh, I'm not saying that he wasn't a human being.
They fell in love. Like, they have to fall in love.
I know. He said, I love you.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed he brought the records home. He was a nice guy. Yeah. I'm not, again.
And I'm saying, like,
it wasn't traditional.
No. Well, it wasn't. And they were still able to, like, incorporate these elements that people put in mainstream movies.
And I'm sure you still believed it. Not you, but anybody. I still think he could have been developed more. Because those moments could have been even more impactful.
Well, that entire house could have been developed. None of the characters were developed other than Abdul, the servant, you know, and even him wasn't.
And I wouldn't even, and arguably, I think he wasn't.
Yeah, this was her movie, like, you know.
And even arguably, she wasn't developed, other than she was a college kid.
Although I will, here's the one thing, it's the first time I see it in an Indian film. They did a fucking training sequence. They did an actual training sequence.
Plant and payoff stuff.
Yeah.
Although you don't really see her fight anybody, because that's what she was like.
Right, which I
kept prepping for.
And I'm wondering if that was like a stunt thing, you know, and they're like they tried to do it.
I doubt
and
it.
she was like terrible at it, so they're like, okay, we're gonna, you know.
I doubt it. But
because I was hoping she was gonna chase down dude and like snap his neck or something like that, like just like choke him out.
She ran him over.
Yeah.
She might have done that if he didn't run away.
But I liked that it wasn't just, hey, we need you to be a spy, and then boom, all of a sudden she's like planning stuff, doing Morse code. Like we saw all these things.
So at no point did I ever be like, oh, really?
Exactly.
I agree with that 100%.
Exactly, and I thought that was great. And I wish more movies would do that, especially when you're running 3 hours long anyways. You know, cut a song. something. Oh.
Literally, and it just that's the character development that's necessary to get yourself into believability.
Right.
Because you believe that not the bad guy, excuse me, you believe that the main like guy in charge would blow her up at the end because he's so rigorous.
Right.
You set that up the whole time. You believe, again, like we already mentioned, the Morse code. You believe that she understands how to plant things, and like she understands, oh, I need to call this number for this. This. Like you
right.
see why she knows all these things. It's not like she magically just knows, as you said, and I think that is really important. I just wish the guy had more. I really do.
Well, I wish not just him. I think all of them. Like we didn't really get to know any of the people.
If any movie deserved to be 3 hours,
none of these people were even close to being rude to her. Even the brother, who was like suspicious.
And you know what it was?
Like, did she have to kill him? I don't think they were gonna.
Well, he was on to her. He was asking to, but even if he wasn't, in her mind, it doesn't matter. The guys are, because you got to think of the circumstances.
Yeah.
The servant found out. He found out she was gonna get fucked.
Right.
And then once dude like asked.
Yeah, the dominoes start.
Then
falling.
it was like, oh, yeah. I gotta do something. But going back to the whole plant and the whole training sequence, because they were showing the slides of all these people, and then when we're in the house and none of those people never really did anything or came to the front and center.
Yeah.
Like, because I was expecting, like, I was paying attention. Oh, here's the wife of so and so, and then when you see them, I was expecting something to happen.
Right.
And nothing happened with them. Nothing really developed. Everybody was really nice, as you already said. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm disappointed at, as I was expecting the villainous shit, and it was almost like this weird. It was kind of like Highway, where the film subverted your expectations a little bit. I don't know if it was intentional. I'm gonna assume it was.
Maybe she's got something in her contract. I don't know.
To just subvert expectations.
Who knows? I thought it was odd that they were able. It seemed like they were able to go back and forth from India to Pakistan super easy. There wasn't an issue with
Everybody
that.
was.
Yeah, like, and so is this something like
It might have been a money thing.
Well, is this in the early 70s? Were the borders a little more open between the countries? Because now I know, at least the movies we've seen, that's
not going to happen.
Not going to happen, exactly.
It's almost like South and North Korea.
Right, exactly. Well, at least that's how it's presented to us.
That's the impressions that we get.
So there was that part, and then, they kept mentioning to her, like, oh, we're sorry, like, we know you're Indian, so, no.
They seem to be okay with it.
Yeah, and then she was like, oh, that's fine.
Which, again, is a little, when you think, that's why I'm glad I said at the beginning, 1970 is not 2018. I don't know how accurate this movie is, but I feel like if you look at fucking Twitter and how India is reacting to Pakistan right now, A, I don't know how this movie would do if it was released this year as opposed to last year. And then B, I don't know, and this is me genuinely, I don't know what the Pakistani sentiment towards Indians are.
Right.
Because if I'm going to believe the people on Twitter, it's literally a mirror. They hate each other equally.
Right.
I don't know. So I'd be curious to know what the Pakistan... Like,
but we did watch that one AIB video where people were talking on the phone, right? Was it AIB?
Yeah, and they were just, I like Salman Khan too, or whatever they were saying. Like, I forgot what it was. But what I'm saying is, I'd be curious to know what their reaction to this movie is.
Yeah.
Because they were not villainized. I don't care what anyone says. They were not villainized in this movie. They were not.
No, the only thing they said was the submarine thing.
And the crush India.
Yeah.
But that's not... that's not the characters doing that.
It didn't come off as nefarious as it needed to be.
It wasn't as bad as...
like, I was expecting some Dr. Evil type shit,
Yeah.
Where everyone's sitting around laughing.
What was the movie we watched? It was like another... Maybe you didn't see it. You didn't see it. It was Yuri. They were villainized in that movie.
I believe it's
Yuri, The Surgical Strike, the one that came out, the highest grossing movie of all India this year so far, $50 million gross. And what's funny is, because of all the surgical strikes, the movie's continuing to just get box office.
Right.
But in that movie, because you get to see their side, 100% like villains. Like,
yeah.
All their government agents, like, they had super big beards and stuff too.
Just the biggest beards you could have.
Not all of them, but acting was all good. Alia Bhatt's good. She's a good actress. I liked what's his name too. I thought he was good, even though his character Vicky Kaushal. I thought he was good. What would you rate this movie?
I give it like a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I'm there. I have no arguments. I'm there. Was it because it was solid and it wasn't boring? I think that's the biggest thing.
Which is ironic because we saw so many comments in a.
It was slow. It's
yeah,
boring.
It's slow, boring.
Which is ironic because I feel like based on other movies that I've seen where they have this like tension,
short too, yeah.
They have this tension where these scenes were like, oh, is so and so gonna get caught? People love it.
Yeah.
I actually feel like this one was a little more reserved than those, and maybe that's why they didn't like it.
Could be.
Because like if the director of Raazi was doing this, it would have been way more score and non-traditional. They would have been like that fucking where it's like splashing in their face and zooming in and like all this stuff, which is not what was going on here.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I'm 7.5. I'll ditto 100%.
Next week's review is Laksha, due to you guys upvoting Daniel's pinned comment about. That's funny. I am surprised that you guys still want us to watch and review that after the negative.
Which we didn't even shit on it. We just said at the end of the day,
hey son, you're gay. Time to join the military.
Which someone in the comments apparently said that is exactly what the story is. Minus the gay part, obviously, which is going to be funny to talk about. But just a quick note on that. I want to end by saying that. If you watch a music video without context and it takes place in a freaking movie and you have to read the words and you can't listen to it, like people in the comment, just listen to it. Like, we don't speak the language, we have to read it, as I've mentioned earlier. That doesn't really allow us to find the symbolism. And as you've said before, if you have to read the symbolism, that's not symbolism.
No, it's not cinematic either. There wasn't anything. I think the only thing visual that went on was when they put up all the mirrors and it was him dancing in front of all the mirrors.
The straight jacket at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't have the context for that.
Right.
I don't know why.
But even then, it was straight out of West Side Story, like.
Well, we'll see the movie and then you guys will determine whether or not
we'll see what happens. But you guys voted on it. You'll see it next week. Make sure you send your questions in to the email address, and we will see you next time.